We're going to get more into the NFL coming on next with Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports right here on 97.3 ESPN. Jeff Kerr's appearance on the Sports Bash being brought to you by Calvi Electric Company in Atlantic City and their new residential division, here to help with all your home and business electrical needs online at calvielectric.com. Eagles joint practicing with the Patriots today to get more into the Eagles and the latest NFL news. He joins us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports right here on 97.3 ESPN. Jeff, how you doing today?
Pretty good, Josh. I can't complain. I mean, Eagles are basically playing the Patriots this week. We are literally less than 4 weeks away from the regular season opener. I'm excited.
We're also 12 days away from the start of college football, just to let you know. So.
Oh, I can't wait for that either. Week zero, I hate how they call it that, but we are 12 days away, yes.
Yes, we are. So, but anyway, not enough about college football for now. Let's get into the Eagles and the NFL. So, to me, one of the biggest news topics of the day is actually Devonta Smith. He has been upgraded to limited at practice, and we've already seen video evidence of him making cuts, doing individual drills. So to me, Jeff, it feels like that the whole situation with his MCL sprain was more precautionary than it was serious. To me, that should be the biggest positive news of the day.
Yeah, what I liked about this, Josh, is week to week isn't week to week under Doug Pearson anymore. If it was week to week under him, you're like, okay, so we won't see this guy for 2 months. No, this literally was a week to week injury. They took their time with him. It was training camp. They were cautious. They know how good Devonta Smith is. He's their number one wide receiver. They're going to take their time with him. So they did that. And basically it was right after the first preseason game. Okay, he's day-to-day. And then we actually saw him in pads, catching passes. The Eagles actually posted the video for him. I don't think he's going to play Thursday against New England, but there's a really good chance he plays in the preseason, and that's great for the Eagles.
It's also great because I think they need to make sure he gets those reps in the offense. Listen, no offense to anybody else, but the reality is that there were 11 targets to tight ends on Thursday night, 11 out of 28. And if you include the running backs, that means almost 75% of targets to either running backs or tight ends on Thursday. And I have to think, Jeff, that's a direct result of them not having their full arsenal of wide receivers available on Thursday night.
Yeah, and I agree. And, I mean, look, the wide receivers haven't been good in camp. As a whole. Jalen Reagor's had his moments, but he's also had a couple bad spurts too. If I had to grade him right now, it's probably a C, especially since he got started late. Travis Fulgham's probably been a C too. He just hasn't been that good. And, it's not that he's a bad player. It's just he hasn't been the player that we saw for 5 weeks last year. Now, Fulgham may think otherwise, but Quez Watkins has been terrific. And if he can emerge between him, Devonta Smith, and Jalen Reagor, I think you are going to see more 11 personnel. And that's all they needed. One of these guys to come and just basically step up to the plate here. Quez Watkins is doing that. It'd be nice if Travis Fulgham would do that too, because I thought it'd be between Reagor and Fulgham. But if Quez Watkins can do that and fill a major role, and by the way, he had great practice today, it's going to be huge for this offense.
Speaking of practice today, one of my favorite moments as well from today with the Eagles was the Jordan Mailata presser, where he drops the F-bomb in the middle of the presser. Says, I was expected to be out there for more than 10 plays. I was bleeping pissed off. They took me out. And I like hearing that from him because he literally does not think he's arrived, Jeff. He does not think he's anything special. He's like, I'm out here working. They asked him at the beginning about that Lane Johnson comment. He's like, oh, Lane said that? Oh, I didn't know. Like, he acts like he's just there to work. And I feel like that's going to be the foundation of him potentially being a Pro Bowler one day, because this guy does not think he's special. He's out there to do work, and I think he's just now learning how good he can be.
And I'll relate this. I don't know if you saw Hard Knocks, Josh. Did you see it? Last week's episode?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Just like Dak Prescott. I know Eagles fans don't want to hear that name, but I loved how Dak Prescott, they basically monitored his snaps and monitored his throws, and he goes, F this. I was effing off, 12 months, Right. I mean, look, he could have been like, man, I just got paid. I don't need this. No, he's a football player. He's going out. He wants to play every opportunity he can. And that's the same thing with Jordan Mailata. I know the Eagles want to be cautious with him. I get it. Because who's their left tackle? Brett Tove? Like, you don't want this right now. It's all of a sudden you don't have depth attack. I mean, you do, but you don't want Jack Driscoll being your left tackle. You don't want Brett Tove being your left tackle. So you have to be patient with Jordan Mailata. But I do love that. He wants to be out on the field and he wants to play. But we got to be realistic here, too. He's had a history of back issues, and they don't go away, especially for a guy that big. So you got to be patient, and you got to be careful with him. And with Andre Dillard week to week, you have to do this. I get it. I get where Jordan Mailata is coming from, but you just got to be smart with this right now. You got to get to week 1. And for Jordan Mailata, that means putting him on a pitch count.
Now, part of also getting the week 1 that you just mentioned, Jeff, is the fact that the guys who are injured, and one of them being Kerryon Johnson, I think that it's pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered that he's done, in my opinion. I feel like this running back depth chart is Sanders, Howard, Gainwell, Scott, and I feel like it makes sense, though, because those 4 running backs literally fit everything we've seen from the Chargers and the Colts the last 3 years.
And that's the thing, too. Jordan Howard is almost like the Jonathan Wilkins of this team. I mean, if you really want to look at it, they need a power back in there somewhere. That's why I never wanted to rule Jordan Howard out, because they're like, oh, he's on this contract. They brought Kerryon Johnson. Yes, true, they did. But Kerryon Johnson's hurt. And to me, it was pretty telling. And I don't like to overreact too much, but Jordan Howard started that preseason game. He was in with the first team. So they have plans for him in some way, shape, or form. And he's had an excellent camp. I agree with you, Josh. I don't think Kerryon Johnson makes this roster. It's unfortunate because I think the kid still has talent. But someone's got to get cut. It's not going to be Boston Scott. It's not going to be Kenny Gainwell. It sure as heck ain't going to be Miles Sanders. And Jordan Howard plays his way onto the roster right now. They're not keeping 5 running backs. So it just looks like Kerryon Johnson's the odd man out, and he's hurt. And I don't even think the Eagles are worried about at this point.
Jeff Kerr joining us here on 97.3 ESPN's The Sports Bash. Of course, you can follow him on Twitter, Jeff Kerr, for all your Eagles NFL coverage at Jeff Kerr CBS. Join us every Monday and Wednesday on 97.3 ESPN. Jeff, one more thing on the offensive side of the ball. I'm noticing that there's 2 camps right now when it comes to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts threw interception at joint camp practice. The guy's an idiot. Then there's the other side of the thing. Well, he made some amazing plays, and people are dropping balls, so I can't blame Jalen Hurts. Why do you think there continues to be this hyper-divisiveness when it comes to the guy who 99.9% is going to be your franchise quarterback moving forward?
You know what upset me this weekend? When Justin Fields was laying it up with the Bears against the Dolphins second team defense, and they're like, oh, look who the Eagles took over, Justin Fields. Well, I hate to tell you this, but the New York Jets took a quarterback over Justin Fields.
Yes.
And the San Francisco 49ers took a quarterback over Justin Fields. Justin Fields should have never fell that low. And you know what? When the Eagles traded up, I knew who they were getting. It was Devonta Smith. I talked to him for the draft, and they showed every indication that was the guy they wanted. So Devonta Smith is perfect for this team. The Eagles pass on Justin Fields so well. I agree with you, Josh. I don't get this hate toward Jalen Hurts. Like, oh, he's not this. Well, guess what? Carson Wentz was this, and look where he's at right now. I'm wearing the colors of his current team. He's not an Eagle anymore. So, again, I just give this guy a chance. Like, to me, he's not a practice player, and he had good practice today. He's a gamer, and that's what I think this team needs. This team needs a gamer, a guy that basically says, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to go out, and I'm going to do everything right and make plays. He's a leader. They need a leader on this team. They need a guy to take command of the locker room. The young players respected the heck out of Jalen Hurts last year. Bottom line, I think he's a very likable guy. I think the Eagles do like him. I think they did look to upgrade that position. I mean, the guy they wanted was Zach Wilson. They couldn't get him. So they're like, okay, we'll see what we got with this guy. And we got draft cap. And that's all I ask. That's all I want to see out of Jalen Hurts. And honestly, I think Jalen Hurts is going to, in this offense, is going to be fine. And there's nothing wrong with that.
See, now you ruin my mood, because you mentioned the point when the Eagles were trying to go get Zach Wilson. And for the life of me, I don't understand this. I don't understand why football teams and football fans fall in love with dudes who can throw. Like, at some point, we got to realize everyone can throw a football. You know what I mean? If you're in the NFL, you can throw a football. Zach Wilson, when he played top 25 teams, had a losing record in college. Jalen Hurts played top 25 teams and won all but one of those games. So as far as I'm concerned, give me the guy who can go out there and win. If the only difference is one guy is aesthetically pleasing in terms of advertising and the other guy just happens to win. Give me the winner. I don't understand why people do this.
I am telling you the narrative right now. because too many casual football fans watch one college football game the entire season. And you and I know which game that is. The game Jalen Hurts got benched for Tua Tagovailoa. That is the game they watch. So they look at Jalen Hurts and be like, oh, he got benched. He must not be any good. Not everything he did to get Alabama to that game. By the way, Jalen Hurts that season, they were losing to South Carolina, and he was playing well. Jalen Hurts marched that team down the field and threw it to some unknown wide receiver. You and I know him because we're college football nuts. Oh, and by the way, I'm a high school football nut, so I definitely knew who he was. Devonta Smith for the winning touchdown. He was the fifth receiver on that team, but you knew how good Devonta Smith was going to be. That's the guy Jalen Hurts went to. Like, I just don't understand the hate toward this guy, the vitriol toward this guy. Look, I get the Eagles were looking at Deshaun Watson. There was legs to that. I get it. They were looking to improve it. That's fine. You can always look to improve. But at the end of the day, like, what was wrong with the guy you drafted in the second round that you drafted at 53 because you were afraid if you passed on him, you weren't going to get him because you had like the 100th pick in the third round or something. And they're right. They weren't going to get him. He was the next best quarterback after that top group. So, again, look, I just want to see the kid do what you basically made him do. Like, he's a starting quarterback. He's probably a starting quarterback a year earlier than you wanted to. But you know what? The NFL is about running quarterbacks now. I don't really care about guys that can throw a football 100 yards. You know, Patrick Mahomes can throw a football 100 yards. I'm exaggerating here, of course. But you know what else he can do? He's cerebral. Jalen Hurts can be that. He can run. That's what a lot of these quarterbacks – people don't realize the three best quarterbacks in football five. You know what? I'll go this. The five best quarterbacks in football right now, they all can do one thing: take off and run with the football. Just because Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson don't do it as frequently as Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes doesn't mean they're not any good. Sorry, Josh, I'm going off on a tangent here. Jalen Hurts can be that.
No, you're fine. I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. And even if I did, I just wait for you to finish. You know, I'm not. This isn't like some radio stations out there in Philadelphia where they interrupt each other every 5 seconds. So.
Well, you can interrupt me anytime you want because that's your job.
Well, I get that, but still, you know what I mean. I like people to finish their point and then I'll say something. It's just my style, okay? I'm not sitting here trying to scream above somebody else because I need to be heard, okay? My ego isn't that fragile, okay?
I will say this. Someone told me once on Twitter I hated Jalen Hurts, and I literally put down like 12 articles in response. I'm like, oh, I hate Jalen Hurts? Are you kidding me right now? Like, here's the visual evidence. Oh, by the way, read articles, not headlines.
Yeah, people are just, they're numbskulls online. You can't, well, you said it last week, you can't take people too seriously. You know, these people are, you know, what'd you call it, a cesspool?
Facebook is a cesspool of idiots. That's
well, if Facebook is a cesspool of idiots, then Twitter is a cesspool of imbeciles. How about that?
Yeah, that's a good one. And, you know, here's the thing, John. I got to say this about social media. I do love social media because I like hearing what other people say because, you always can get a good feel about anything. And there are some intelligent people on social media, and those are the guys I'm looking for. Like, I go on Reddit all the time. I have an account, but I never comment on anything. I just like reading stuff because you can pick apart someone's brain on there. And you know, there are a lot of smart people on there. You just got to flush out the bad ones.
All right, Jeff, a couple more things before I let you go. Around the NFL, Patriots are at the joint practice. We haven't said anything about them. Your thoughts on the Pats in town this week?
Boy, a certain former Eagles wide receiver looked pretty good today. Nelson Aguilar, he was burning up the Eagles' defensive backs pretty good. And I was the biggest Nelson Aguilar hater when he was here. I got to admit, I couldn't stand the guy. I honestly got sick of him after the whole lost confidence in 2016. And but I got to say, the Eagles don't win the Super Bowl without Nelson Aguilar. They don't. Like, he had 9 catches in Super Bowl 52. Mm-hmm. That's a team record. Tied with Terrell Owens in the postseason for a Super Bowl. It's insane. And, you know, he's never had more than 8 catches in a game. So he stepped up. And I'll tell you what, he just looks good. Like, he looks very crisp. The guy strives to get better every day. He was happy to come back, but he didn't really want to talk about his past with the – and that's fine. Like, he doesn't have to. But overall, like, I feel this Patriots team, they're going to be a little bit better than what they were last year if they start Mac Jones. I just don't think Cam Newton's the guy. I really don't. And I hope Bill Belichick isn't foolish enough to actually continue with this charade for longer than 2 weeks.
So hold on. So what you're basically insinuating is that Belichick is lying to the media right now when he says Cam's the starter.
I think he is. And, who knows what Belichick's thinking? Like, you always get yes or no responses from Bill Belichick. But I get if he doesn't want to start Mac Jones right away, but he probably should. Like, I feel this can be a 9 or 10 win football team with Mac Jones. Cam Newton, to me, it's just the throws are bad today. Like, they really were. He struggled. Jalen Hurts outplayed this guy. And gotta remember, Josh, the national analysts think Jalen Hurts is the worst quarterback in football. So if he's the worst quarterback, where is Cam Newton? Too many people think Cam Newton is Cam Newton from 5 years ago. He's not even close to that.
And it's a shame because when he was the Cam Newton he used to be, he was phenomenal to watch.
I love to watch him. It's a shame, but his game's just deteriorated. Too many injuries, between the ankle and the shoulder. I feel bad for the guy. Like, I still feel he can last in the league another 6-7 years because, look, if he wants to be a backup, that's fine. But I think his days as a starting quarterback are done.
One more thing I want to get to with you, Jeff, is arguably the most inconsistent quarterback of the NFL preseason just lost a wide receiver. Down in Miami, Allen Hurns is now expected to miss 3 months. He's getting wrist surgery. And if anybody watched that Miami Bears game, everyone talked about Justin Fields, but on the other side of the field, Tua was either boom or bust on every single throw. And to me, losing Allen Hurns says 2 things. Number 1, if you're playing fantasy football, get Albert Wilson as soon as possible. And number 2, if you're also playing fantasy football, stay away from Tua.
Yeah, here's the interesting thing with Tua, because I'm a big Tua guy. He looked so good those first 3 series. Yeah, he had a couple throws here and there, but then all of a sudden he throws the pick. Right. And then everything just kind of went spiral for him. But there were a lot of things I did like about him in that game Saturday. His footwork was a lot better. His precision was better. His decision-making was better. That throw to Mike Gesicki was awesome. I love. But then what does he do? He throws a pick. And it's like, okay, so what are you going to get out of this guy this year? And again, I like the Dolphins' mentality toward this. How they put him in last year, just kind of put him in the playoff race, let him learn. And now that he's 100% recovered from this hip injury, I want to see how good he could be this year. And I think this is a good year for the Dolphins to find out what they got in this kid because they have future draft capital too. And if they go 6-11 and it's because of Tua, they're going to make a change. But if they go 9-8, 10-7, I think they're a 10-win team, honestly. I think there's enough talent on this team, especially on the defense to win 10 games. If they go 10-7 with Tua and Tua plays well, I think they got something.
Yeah, to me, if Tua plays the way he should be able to play, they're a 9-10 win team. If he's anything below that, I don't know if they get 10 wins, Jeff, because to me, the thing that frustrates me about Tua is what you saw in that preseason game on Saturday. Great play, lousy play. And then he lets the game ruin him. Like when he had that game last year with 98 passing yards, that was a painful game to watch him play in. And to me, and I'm not trying to belabor the point, I mean, because I'm not really a Tua guy personally, I feel like there's too many question marks with his injury history and his mental makeup. I think he's got all the talent in the world. But at some point, the talent has to match what you see on the field week in and week out.
I'm on the record. People always forget the end of this statement. I thought Tua was going to be the best of the 3 between Burrow, Tua, and Herbert. But I also said all 3 are going to be really, really good football players. So 2 of the 3 ain't bad right now. But I got to really hope Tua's can be that. But yeah, that's what's frustrating to me, John. It's like I think it's fair to even ask the question, who do I have right now? Tua or Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, to me, Tua should be more mobile than he is. I think he's a little skittish, and I don't think the Dolphins help him with these terrible offensive coordinators they're bringing in. Like 2 co-offensive coordinators, what is this, high school? Are you kidding me right now? Like, this is what you're bringing in. Like, Brian Flores is a great coach, but he's got to figure out this offensive coordinator. Chan Gailey did nothing to help Tua last year at all.
Hey, I'm so confused. I am confused what their plans are for the offense because apparently the one whoever the coordinator is in the box calls the plays, and the coordinator on the field is the one who talks to the quarterback. Like I'm so confused what the Dolphins are trying to do, and hopefully it doesn't ruin him because they ruin him. You know what I mean? Like because we've seen teams they get a good quarterback and then they ruin the quarterback.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It's we're always going to wonder, too, if Tua can't figure it out here, like, what went wrong with this guy? Like, Josh Rosen, I still don't think Josh Rosen is as bad as people make him out to be.
I agree 100%.
it was just one of those things where terrible situation in Arizona, just absolutely horrible. They fire the coach after 1 year, who was a defensive coach, and you ship him off to Miami, who's also with a bad offensive coordinator. They get rid of him. Now he's in San Francisco, where he actually has a decent offensive staff, but he has no chance there. They got Trey Lance. They got Jimmy G. His career is basically done already. And I say this about Sam Bradford. Can you imagine if Sam Bradford actually had a good offensive coach from the start? He might have actually been something.
Well, that and also his health. Bradford had so many injuries. It was like becoming like it was just ridiculous. And at the end of his career, the fact that he made that much money in his career, being that injured as often as he was actually incredibly impressive.
Yeah, it was. And yeah, honestly, he's the reason why they changed it. Like, they made the rookie wage scale, because I always thought it was cool with the draft, like how much these guys are going to make. I'm like, wow, this guy made all this money for being good 2 years in college. Anybody could have done. Can you imagine now what Trevor Lawrence would have made $100 million under that old system? Like, I remember people got mad because Donovan McNabb made like $54 million in his first contract with the Eagles. That turned out to be a steal the way he played those first couple years. And yeah, he got the $100 million deal, and it was still a good deal for the Eagles because he stuck. But like, Cleveland paid Tim Couch all that money, Achilles Smith got paid all that money, and he was god awful. Like, that's what made that all that so intriguing. The rookie wage scale, just I get it. It makes a lot of sense. It's enjoyable. Because now you don't have to worry about holdouts and stuff. But man, I miss that part of the draft. Honestly, I do miss, like, how much are these guys going to get?
Well, the new dynamic is going to be, the question is going to be, when do you make more money? Your final year in college with NIL, or your first rookie contract in the NFL? Because this kid, the quarterback Young at Alabama, he's supposed to make over $1 million in endorsements. He hasn't even played a down of football. What happens with the next superstar quarterback in college? Is there for a couple of years. What happens to that guy?
I joked with a couple high school kids that are going to Division I programs. I was just like to them, you guys are so lucky. You know that you're going to get paid for your image, which you always should have. But, oh, by the way, and you get free college, which I'm still paying my loans for. So, hey, man, hats off to you. You're good at playing a sport. It's awesome. You know, I'm happy for these guys. Like, probably should have happened about 20, 30 years ago. We won it, maybe even before. I mean, can you imagine how much Brian Bosworth would have made in an NIL? Like, Bo Jackson, all these guys. Like, it's actually kind of insane now, and I'm glad to see these guys are getting paid for their image and their likeness. But man, you're right, Josh. Who's going to get? Are they going to make more their junior, senior year of college? How many of them are going to stay in college because they're going to make more money?
I think it's going to happen with the NBA immediately. I think there's going to be a bunch of guys who are going to make more money in college. They're not even going to want to go to the NBA. They're going to be like, why not to go to the NBA? I'm making money here.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that ruins the whole G League Ignite thing where, who was the player? Was it Jaden Green that played for them this year? He just skipped college and went to the draft?
The G League Ignite team.
Yeah, the G League Ignite team. So basically, he got paid $125,000 to do that. Like, if it was the NIL, you go and went to Duke, North Carolina, wherever, and just made a killing. And there's going to be some coaches in college basketball that are going to get it right away. I think that's why Krzyzewski's leaving. I think that's why Roy Williams. I think guys like Jay Wright get this process immediately. Like, I just do. It's going to be guys like him. Jim Boeheim's not going to get it. It's going to be like those. How can I say it? Those coaches in their 50s. I think they get it. Like Jay Wright's going to be one of those guys. I'm trying to think of other guys.
Calipari, Kentucky.
Yeah, Calipari will get it. What's the guy? He's not at Texas Tech anymore, or is he still? Chris Beard?
Oh, Chris Beard, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Beard. I think he'll get it. If Larry Hamilton at Florida State, I think he would get it. Like, there's going to be a little shifting of power. Mark Few's going to be another one. He'll get it. But yeah, I think that's why these older coaches quit. They just don't want to deal with this stuff. Like, they have to now recruit them based on what they can give them, not like, oh, I coach Duke. Yeah, I swear I hear that's what some of these guys do. It's ridiculous. Not everybody's a genius like Nick Saban.
And on that note, Jeff Kerr, at Jeff Kerr CBS on Twitter. He'll be back on Wednesday's show here on 97.3 ESPN. Jeff, always appreciate the conversation. Have a good one.
Sounds good, Josh. Fun time, as always.
Josh Hennig filling for Mike Yell here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. And Jeff Kerr's appearance brought to you on the Sports Bash by Calvi Electric Company in Atlantic City and their new residential division, here to help with all your home and business electrical needs. Online at calvielectric.com.